it works. All right, so this is our last class, and I don't miss you all, including the ones in the camera. Let me see what else I want to say. Next week is the exam number 4, the last exam. So don't come to the class, you can take it online. It will cover real property, it will cover the landlord tenants, and it will cover the secured transaction. Okay? And you don't see any quiz or homework assignment for secured transaction because I want you to spend time to look into the extra credit projects. That constitutes about 5% of your overall grade. Okay? So if you're about 84, then with the 5%, you have 89, so most likely we'll get a minus. Okay? I try to round up your grade as much as I can, but if you got 80, I probably won't, can't round you up all the way to 89. So I'll try to do that. Okay? Any questions? Secured transaction. Okay.
Is this online now?
This should be. Is it?
No, it's
It's not? Oh well, you can just listen to me.
Help you post it for the exam.
I will. Okay, all right. Let's say here, Doc, do anybody ever borrow money from you?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to elaborate?
I helped my brother out of some tax issues.
Okay.
So I lent him like, I think $5,000.
Okay, so Doc, is it 85,000?
What's 85,000?
Or you said you lent him $85,000?
No.
I just 5,000.
$5,000.
$5,000, okay.
85,000.
Oh, you were rich. Do you have an agreement between you and your brother?
Yep.
Okay, what kind of agreement is it?
That was just verbal.
Verbal. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not so good.
Yeah, that's not so
And
good.
what if he doesn't pay you back?
But that's because it's family, right?
All right. Oh, I know. I understand. What if he doesn't pay you back?
And that's what happened.
Okay, but so that's not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
But you didn't sue him or anything, right? You just
No, I didn't sue.
so you're just bargaining every Thanksgiving, saying, "What the hell's my money?"
No, he hasn't been invited to a family party in a long time.
Or you do. All right. So there's no way to get your money back. Okay. So this is what I call not secured interest, right? This is unsecured. So if he doesn't pay you back, your money is not secured.
So did you call it non-secured interest?
Unsecured interest.
Interest.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's actually unsecured debt in this case.
Which,
Unsecured.
what do you want us to call it?
No, this is what I call the unsecured debt.
Okay.
Okay. Well, the contract itself that you have, a promissory note, is unsecured. So unsecured is the key word. Okay. How do we make it secure?
I would tell him, let me hold on to your pink slip, to your car,
Okay.
your title,
A signed pink slip.
a signed
Right.
title.
Okay. Yeah, that could be one thing, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys understand it? Okay. So the brother has to give the title page, the title document of his car to you. What kind of car is it? Who was it?
He's driving a
Honda
van.
Odyssey, what year?
Yeah, Odyssey.
What year?
I'd say 2010.
Oh, that worth more than $5,000.
Yeah.
Odyssey worth more than $5,000.
Yeah.
Quite a bargain. Okay. So you have a verbal agreement, or maybe you want to put it on paper. Okay. I lent you $5,000, and what else needs to be on the contract?
When he needs to pay it back.
Exactly, the term of the contract, right?
Right.
So So what's the term?
Let's say $5,000, 6 months.
Wow.
What do you mean?
I'm making a sound. How's that?
Is that too generous or too?
I don't know.
What would you do if your
What?
brother asked you for $5,000?
I don't have a brother.
I know, just hypothetically.
I'm an only child. I don't know how the brotherhood feels. Right? So if we're really bonded, that's a different story. But if we hate each other or we fuck each other when we grow up, then it's a different story.
I would say 6 months is doable.
And what else do we need?
I would say, I want him to sign a piece of paper.
Okay. I'm saying that piece of paper, what else do you want to put in there?
Collateral.
Collateral, that's right.
That would be that van, right?
Right, and that's your sign, pink slip of the car. Right, what do you want it to be signed?
So you can take possession of it if he defaults on his debt.
Yeah,
If he fails to pay.
if it fails to pay. Right, that's one way to do this, okay? What else do you want to put in there?
Interest.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm not gonna put interest on
10% a month.
Well, you're.
We don't know, but it should be in there.
That would be 60%, Barry, that would be, $3,000 he'll give you back.
Would
$8,000.
it 10% per month compound or just?
Yes, the compound itself even more than.
All right, but the thing is, California has a usury law. It says the annual interest cannot be over 10%.
Just 10%.
Yes, I know, I'm sorry. Only 10%. California usury law. So if I say here, 300% for 6 months,
No.
no in terms of what? Entire contract goes void,
Yes.
or only this part is void?
Just the interest.
Oh, interest.
Okay, usually just this part. And that's why in the contract, we have a provision called severability contract. Severability. Okay, so if part of the contract is illegal or is unenforceable, we're just gonna cross it out. And the rest of the contract will still be intact. So if this is 300%, if this contract was ever be interpreted by law, then we're just going to cross it out. And everything else stays. Okay? Severability. Okay.
Is it 10% monthly or is it 10% yearly?
Annual.
Okay.
Okay? So when he pays you back, you're supposed to pay you back $5,250, right?
Yeah.
All right. So now we have is if your brother default on this contract, okay, and then you have a right or you have a way to get your money back. That is taking over his car. Okay. What if he sells the car? He sells the car before within 6 months.
Oh, he's got his pink slip.
Get another pink slip. So you lost it. They go on DMV, you can get
They
another.
get back the money to you?
Hmm?
They get back my money to that?
Well, but that's the thing. What if your brother sells his car before the end of the term?
Then
Oh, I see.
Then I'll ask him to pay full payment now.
Well, you don't know that. Okay? And again, this is your collateral.
Oh, so at the end of 6 months, he doesn't pay me
And then there's no car for you to,
so I would sue him.
okay?
I have actually one question. Okay, I have a truck. I pay off
Okay, I'll come back to your question in just a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
So, why do we have this collateral here? Why do we want to create a secured interest here? Your interest, $5,000, is secured. Why do you want to do that? The main reason is for you to want to get your money back, or wait for you to get your money back, and to avoid the lawsuit. Okay? Avoid the lawsuit. If you're gonna sue your brother, the only remedy that you have, or the only venue that's available to you, is to sue him in the small claims court, and not in the regular court. One, the damage is too small, and two, no lawyer is gonna take your case. You're gonna go in broker.
I was gonna say, lower the risk. Collateral helps lower the risk because they're less likely to default knowing that they're gonna lose something more
Sure,
valuable.
yeah, there's a lot of reasons behind it, but the biggest reason is to protect, here, the creditor. We're gonna protect stock,
And to avoid lawsuits.
to avoid lawsuit, because lawsuit is very expensive. But Tom, your question is?
Yeah. I got a truck,
Yeah, the
okay?
truck,
I pay off the amount of about almost 30,000. Now, the company asked me to pay about $8,000 that I, for interest or something like that.
so you have a truck, how much does it worth?
And about the 2007, I bought in 2007, and they come up all the total of the bill about 32,000. I already paid off, but they told me to pay back another $8,000. Late payment. I said no,
Okay, they want you to pay $8,000.
and they give back my title. I
That's
said no.
in late payment.
I said no. I already paid the amount.
So this is the dealer, right?
Yeah, no, that's the deal. Because the whole total there.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is a decent bill, they add this bill to that, they come about 38, about 40, 40,000 total.
So this is invoice, right?
Yes, that's the invoice.
Okay, so dealer says, well, there's a late payment.
Yes,
There's a sort of a penalty for you to pay? or-
yes.
Okay.
I don't know, I already pay off the amount the deal assigned for them.
Okay, and then they're holding up,
Yeah, they hold up the title.
hold up
And I
title.
told them, I'll take him to court anyway.
Okay, and then now what?
And then still, they still, but then the next, I still look for the.
But you drove in the car?
No, I give the, in my home, in my house.
Okay,
And the truck in my house in Reno,
Okay.
with my property.
okay.
But I want the title, and the lease, but they told me, you can pay $8,000, I already pay the deal, the amount,
What is the basis for this $8,000?
They said to me, is that interest or late payment, something like that, I
Were
do
you
not.
late in payment?
Sometimes I late about 2 months, just late, but I still pay. I late it, but I pay, if I late, I pay that $450. When I late, I pay
In
$520.
this case, we need to look into the accounting for this $8,000 to see if the calculation is correct.
Yes,
Okay, when you enter into a purchase agreement, when you buy this car, there are conditions, there are
Yes.
terms in the contract. If you're late in payment, which means you're in violation. You're in violation of the contract. Okay, then we need to see if this is,
but I pay all the time the late payment. They said to me, and I have all the records. But they say, no, no. Let's take this to court. Next year, in February 7, I'm taking to court.
all right, all right. Where,
No,
where,
that's about in the county.
which county?
San Jose.
Santa Clara County.
San Carolina.
Okay. So small claims?
Yes.
Okay, small claims, you're filing over the title. Okay. All right, so, well, in this case, you see, what is the collateral here? So Tom goes in and buy a car, okay? And he's paying the car payments. So what is this a secured transaction?
Yes, because the dealer has the title.
Exactly, that's right, because the dealer has the title,
Yes.
okay?
He has the title.
Right. So the car was not officially yours. Okay. So,
When I pay 8 grand.
and they have the right, if you default on your payment, they have the right to repossess your car. Right? Repossession, they have the right to repossess your car.
But I get all the amount of bills I pay, you know, include the late payment.
Yeah, you don't take my stuff.
Oh, I see.
No, you don't take my stuff.
Oh, man, I should pull that.
Go about that.
Swindle.
Okay, now, let's see here. What is a better collateral? What is a better collateral? So remember the example I gave you was that, you know, Doc has a loan to the brother and is using you're using the brother's Odyssey, 2010 Odyssey as a collateral. But what if he sells the car before the 6 month term? Don't you want somebody has some right to look over this collateral to make sure it is there? Don't you wish that? Don't you wish someone or some organization or whatever can look at this collateral and make sure it is there?
Oh, yes, but how would you do that?
Well, the thing is, we need to use a better collateral,
A house.
a real property.
Really go over
Okay.
there.
House for a $5,000 loan?
Yes, you could put liens on anything.
Someone's
I mean, a
really
lien.
excited about the lien.
You could put a lien on the house.
Yeah, that's what it is.
$100 to $200.
Whatever you want to.
Yeah,
Okay?
whatever you want.
All right, so let's run a hypo. Who wants to sue? Anybody wants to sue someone else in this class?
Can I not be the victim for once?
You can be the plaintiff. Oh, well, I'm sorry.
The
Plaintiff.
most
yes.
quiet person in here.
Huh?
Pick the most quiet person in here.
Who's quiet here tonight? Chi, who do you want to sue? Yes. Not only who you want to sue, why do you want to sue? Who you don't like in this class, except me, I know you hate me.
Oh.
And which state of California? Okay. Versus Barry. What happened, Chief? Anything?
She loaned me $2,000.
Nah, we're done with loaning money. What else? Make it more interesting. Make it something that you can see in your daily life and I can analyze the case for you. It could be a breach of contract, it could be a personal injury case, it could be...
Minding rights to our backyard.
You're being sued, okay? This is a way to be sued.
She loans the car to Barry.
Yeah, maybe late payment for lease house.
Mortgage?
No,
Rent?
rent.
Oh, rent, all right, okay. Now,
Ooh.
ooh,
Barry.
and this is a unlawful demeanor case. Okay. I have two cases right now that's going to trial. I'm sorry, one case. The other one I got settled last night. So that's why this morning I was at the court to file a notice of the settlement. All right. So give me the terms, Chief. So you and Barry have a lease agreement, okay? So what are the terms of lease agreement?
1 year.
Okay, we have 1 year, starting,
Beginning of this year.
so it's almost over.
January.
Let's do June, how's that? June 1st, of 2014 to May 31st. For the 15th. Okay. Let's assume this is in needs to be in here.
The amount of,
Okay. What is the monthly rent?
2,000.
For what?
One month.
Right, I know, monthly rent, but for what size of room? Is it the entire building, or one room, or is it master suite, or is it one floor, or
24.
one floor? Is it second floor, first floor, in-laws, or what?
It's in the house of
Okay, we're gonna put you in the basement, man.
geez, I don't even get a
$2,000.
feel. I don't even get a feel.
Hey, $200. Hey,
$2,000.
You're lucky to get, what, let's say, it's an in-law unit, okay, we have,
I could live in Golden Gate Park for cheaper than that.
hey, in-law unit in San Francisco, right? Because she's Chinese, right? So we have all this illegal kitchen built in, right? So you have,
Illegal kitchen built in.
oh, come on. So 3 rooms, right? 3 room,
That's not so bad.
all right, 2 bathroom. Yeah, it's a typical in-law unit in Sunset. 3 rooms, 2 bath, maybe 1 bath, and then the full kitchen.
They have, in-law units are that big, geez.
Oh, yeah?
They're like one room.
No, they usually convert the garage.
Hmm.
And they're pretty big too.
I used to own it in Long Island, it was 3 rooms, 1 bathroom, and.
So either 1 or 2 bath, but you're gonna have a kitchen.
Yeah.
If you rent from Chinese, then you have a full kitchen. Okay, that's a good deal. All right. Okay, since when Barry didn't pay rent?
October.
Oh, right, October. Right. So missing rents. Assuming the rent is due on the 1st of every month. Okay? So August didn't pay, September didn't pay, or second, let's see, June, July, 3rd month into the lease, it reduced the pay. All right, so we're August, we're September, we're October, November, December. Okay? So how much does it owe you? $10,000. Damn you, Barry. Okay. Now, this is a interesting case. This is not too much going into the secure transactions, but I want to tell you how we resolve this. Okay. Now, we said this is in San Francisco, which is under rent control. Okay? There are only so many reasons for you to evict your tenant. Non-paying of the rent is one of the just causes for you to evict. Okay? So, when you file a lawsuit, okay, do you want the house back, or do you want the rent, the back rent, or you want both?
Both.
Okay, of course you want both, right? But the thing is, if you file a unlawful detainer action, it will only give you back the possession of the house. If you want the back rent, you need to file a new lawsuit.
And it has to be separate.
It has to be separate. Okay? It is separate. Because unlawful detainer is a speed up process. It's very fast. You can get a trial day within, realistically speaking, maybe 6 to 8 weeks, you can get a trial day. Okay? But in a regular lawsuit, you're looking at a year before you can get a trial, before you can set the case to trial. Okay. Well, so gee, you're out of luck. You're waiting for so many months, you're losing so much rent. But the key thing is you can get the house back. So you can rent it to someone else. Okay? All right, so let's do this. So the first thing you do is you give a 3 days notice, right? A 3-day notice, 3-day notice either to pay rent or get the hell out. Okay, that's what they call. 3 days to pay rent or quit. Okay? 3 days, Barry, you got 3 days notice. Would you pay $10,000 in 3 days? Given that you haven't paid any rent in 5 months.
I could be a millionaire.
What's the reason you didn't pay rent?
I didn't feel like it.
Let's assume you have some financial difficulties, so you
Okay.
can catch up the rent. Okay? Poor guy, some medical problems, huge medical bills. You just don't have the time or the money to. You have the time to go to work and don't have the money to pay the rent.
I couldn't make the money begging.
Pay the rent. So all the money goes to the hospital. Okay? Well, but now you're living at the landlord's expense. Right? You don't have the money to pay the rent, but the landlord at the same time couldn't collect the rent. Okay? It's a very bad situation for both of you, but that's why she served you a 3 days notice. And do you have the money to pay? All at once, within 3 days, $10,000.
Probably not.
Probably not. Will you move in 3 days?
No.
No. No way. Will you move in 3 days? Once you get that 3 days notice, will you move?
It wouldn't be easy, but you can get like a you.
If you do, you'll be the most
You-
honest man on earth.
You'll be the what?
You'll be the most honest person on earth. But realistically speaking, nobody moves. I've never seen anybody, any tenant moves after they got the 3 day notice. They even pay. I've seen that. Okay, but I've never seen anybody move within 3 days after they got a notice. Okay? So 3 days passed. Gee, he doesn't pay the $10,000 and he doesn't move out. What do you do?
30 days.
No. You file a lawsuit.
So,
File the UD lawsuit. UD as in unlawful detainment. Yeah.
If they do pay, is it going back to the same status they were at before where they're protected?
Yeah.
Okay.
So during this process, if the tenant pays the back rent, the entire lawsuit goes away. Okay. So as a landlord, you want to serve a 3 days notice as soon as possible. If the guy doesn't pay you for 1 month, you serve it. But you might want to file a lawsuit right away because you're going to spend money to file a lawsuit, and then you can just pay that 1 month rent to make the entire lawsuit go away.
If you really don't like the tenant, couldn't you like wait for it to build up just for them to get out? Because if it's like set at a really low amount because they bought a long time ago, would you be able to like, wait a couple of months knowing that they won't pay and then suddenly drop the 3 days
No,
notice?
they can't afford to pay. That's the term. Yeah, it's a strategy that you design along the case.
People have done
What
that
you want to
before.
do. Okay. So you file a lawful lawsuit, unlawful detained lawsuit, okay? And then let's just say Barry has no defense, he doesn't pay rent, okay? So what you do is you win the lawsuit and you the case. Okay? And then she will get a judgment. Okay? Now, this judgment has nothing to do with monetary damages. The judgment only says, now, gee, you have a right to take back the possession of the in-law unit. Remember, without this judgment, you cannot go into Barry's place or his rooms to change the lock. You can't do that. Okay? He will call the cop on you. He'll call the police. So once you receive the judgment against Barry, then what you do is you go to the sheriff's office, or the sheriff, it's a county sheriff's office, then you get a writ of execution. Writ of execution. So what it does is then you can schedule a time with the sheriff. Okay, you pay them $25 to get this, and then the sheriff will come to Barry's place on a certain date and start to kick him out. Okay?
What if he's not there?
Then you will, well, you have the key to his place, right? Then at that time, you are lawfully permitted to go inside his place to start throwing things out. Okay?
What does she have, what does she have to do with Barry's property?
Well, by law, well, if Barry's not there, I think you have to find a storage for his belongings for so long, and then you have to put up for auction. Okay, I think 30 or 60 days, I can't remember.
What if I,
1198, I think 11,982, I think that's the code.
what if I had a rare
One at a
$50,
time, one at a time.
what if I had like a rare $50 Ming vase or something like that, or $50,000 Ming vase, and then when you throw it out, it gets damaged? Would I have a lawsuit there?
But we usually when we put it out, when we say we throw the tenants out, usually is we open the doors, you're not there, the door is going to change the lock. But you can't come back in.
Unless you're escorted by them. Unless you're escorted and we let you in and get your stuff.
No, we have done it before. So it was at one of the house next to the projects. So the cop came in. It was not my case, but no lawyers wanted to go there because it's a pretty dangerous place. So they never asked us to go, but nobody wanted to go. But so then opened. So 3 cops showed up. Usually they don't just send 1 cop; they send multiple cops, at least 2. Okay, and that they sent 3 cops. So they knock on the door. 2 teenagers open the door. Black kids, African American kids, open the door, and the police just said, "Get out." They didn't take anything with them, just other than their really personal belongings. And then they just left. And then the little go in and change the lock.
So what happens to the stuff inside?
Well, like I said, by law, you are responsible for so many days to put in the storage, and after that, you can auction off the items.
But what if it gets damaged en route?
Well, see,
As I said
it's
before.
part of your responsibility to take your stuff. If you have all the crap and then one $50,000 Ming vase, you're supposed just to carry it with you.
What if you forget about it?
There's a lot of what ifs. And if you have a $50,000 vase, why did you get evicted? Okay? All right, so this is how the unlawful detaining case goes. Now, at the same time, 2.5. All right? So when this is over, we file another case against you. So what this case does is for the back rent, for the $10,000. Okay. We have enough evidence, right? And Barry lost again. Now we have a judgment against. Why did he breach that? We have a judgment against Barry for $10,000.
How did they force Barry to pay that?
There you go. Here's the problem. Sure, you have a piece of paper coming from the court. So unlike the writ of execution, you can go to the sheriff's office to ask the sheriff to come out and evict Barry. This is different. Now you have a piece of paper saying, Barry, now you owe she $10,000. What do you do? What do you do with this piece of paper? She said you should ask Barry to pay.
Come on, Barry.
She's very nice. She asked very nicely, please pay.
Like give her the base.
Would you pay?
No.
But isn't that like associated to your social security, so if you have a job, they'll check your national
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So $10,000 adjustment that you had, and this is a misconception here. The court will not help you to collect. Okay, you're on your own. The court will not help you to collect. The court will give you a right to collect. Okay? Collection is on you. So you pick up the phone, you call Barry, and Barry said, Barry basically hang up the phone. And then put you on the block list. Now what do they do?
Collection agency.
Well, collection agency is not the best way to do this because what they do is they will buy your judgment. What they do is the collection agency will buy your judgment. Maybe 10 cents to $1, maybe 20. You're lucky if you're 20, 30. So they'll give you $1,000 to buy that right to collect 10 grand. Would you sell it?
No.
Not if you're desperate, right? Not if you're desperate for the money, no. Then you know you can't get the money back. Okay? But we're not there yet. Right? You're not that desperate because there are so many ways you haven't tried. Okay? So, like I said, the last resort maybe just to sell your judgment to a collection agency. But what else can you do?
Get the mafia. Get the mafia on Barry.
I don't think $10,000 is enough.
Get the mafia.
You have to have some pretty good connections.
All right, and we're trying to do this legally.
Yeah.
Okay? We're trying to do this legally.
Correct the mafia.
Or the right Italian restaurant in the right neighborhood.
Collection agency.
So what else can we do?
Underground.
Gee, what else can we do?
Or you can get at least half of it, take it to Judge Judy.
All right.
Oh, no. Well, okay, Judge Judy, Judge Judy, what it does is they pay you ahead of time, but the case is not decided. So what they do is, it's a small claims court. Okay, it's a small claims. Judge Judy, or most of the courts. So what they do is, they look around nationwide to look for interesting cases. A small claims court. Okay? So in this case, so they will call you up, call Barry and Bill Chief. So they will tell Chief, let's take this case to Judge Judy's courtroom. Don't worry about the judgment. I will pay you right now. So the producer, the television company will pay you $10,000. You just go there and argue a case, not worrying the results. Okay, that's how it works. They pay you ahead of time.
Paid.
That costs your dignity. It costs some of your dignity.
But you got some national exposure. Probably not your brightest side of
It could be
got
worse.
exposed.
It could be Jerry or Maury. That's another step downwards.
There's a lot of court on it. It was court.
Do they pay both the parties?
Huh?
Do they pay both
Just
parties?
one.
They usually pay the plaintiff.
From.
Then what's the incentive for,
The defendant doesn't have to pay.
The other doesn't have to pay.
And you get free food.
They got free food and they got a free ticket.
Free food.
You know, wear a shirt that advertises your business.
Huh?
Wear a shirt that advertises your business.
Oh yeah, that's right. You can do that.
Yeah.
But they try to make it as real as possible. Well, damn you. Okay, where was I? Oh, what else can you do? All right. Well, I'll tell you what. You want to collect money from Barry, you have to make sure that he has the money. That's the first thing you do. So you're gonna find out whether Barry has owned any of the properties. Okay? Barry, you claim you are a millionaire. Do you own any real property? Do you own any houses?
Maybe,
Huh? Yes,
in this
or no?
example, I have one in Beverly Hills.
Okay, all right. So he has a house in Beverly Hills. Okay? All right. Is it vacant? Is it rented out? Or what do?
Yeah, it's rented out.
It's rented out. It's pretty to the to Sony. How about they always shoot the movies at your house?
Exactly.
Lots of money. All right.
And yet I couldn't pay $2,000 a month for rent.
Because we don't want to pay. How's that?
Fair enough.
Right, or maybe it's a haunted house. Take a look. But anyways, over here. So now, you know Barry owns a house down in LA. So what you can do is, you have a judgment against Barry. So you're gonna go to the court and get a piece of paper, what we call the abstract of judgment. Okay? You get the abstract of judgment and you go down to the LA County Recorder's Office and you file it. Okay? So, and then your $10,000 will be attached to every single piece of real property that Barry owns in that county. Okay? If Barry owns 10 different properties in different counties, you're going to file this at each of the county. So it's filed with the county will automatically attach the judgment to all of Barry's properties within that county. Okay? So in this case, we're going to LA, you filed it. Okay? So there will be a $10,000 judgment lien against the property. Okay? And it's public. Anybody wanting to buy your house, they put up the title report, they're going to see there's a judgment lien. Okay? So when you sell the house, you have to certify this lien first. Okay? That's one. Two, because this is not, the house at Beverly Hills is not your primary resident. Okay? It is not your primary resident. She might have a chance to petition to the court to force sell the property. If the property was about $5 million, you're gonna force it sell for $4 million, and then you take 10 grand. The rest goes to you.
Which wouldn't really be so bad. I mean, it's just a tiny little.
Well, but
portion.
usually under a forced sale, you don't sell it to the value that you want it to be sold. Okay? And a lot of times it's an option too. All right? Good? Any questions about that? Now, what if, let's change the fact. What if Barry doesn't own a house? Now what?
A car.
Hmm?
A car.
The car?
You put a lien on a car.
Putting a lien on the car is difficult because it's so easy to sell the car. Okay? And usually the car doesn't work anymore.
Do liens travel with the property, or do liens travel with the property, or?
It does. It does.
So the new owner is responsible for that lien.
But the new owner will be aware of this lien. Okay? The owner will know. All right? So, Barry doesn't own a house. What else can we do?
Go to his bank.
We're gonna look into his bank accounts to see if he has money in the bank. Do you have any objection to that?
You can.
Huh?
Can you stop? I don't think you can stop that.
Well, she's gonna petition to the court to subpoena the bank records. Okay. Can you raise any objections to that? Can you object based on privacy?
Yeah.
No.
No, the answer is no. You don't have privacy. You don't have the right to privacy of your bank statements or information that bank holds. Why? Because it belongs not to you. It belongs to the bank. Okay? All this information don't belong to you. They belong to the bank. So when the court subpoenas the record, the bank will turn it over. So if there's enough money in the bank, so what you do is, same procedure, you're going to levy your bank account. And then the bank will give that $10,000 deduct from your account and cover a check. Okay?
What if there isn't 10,000?
Now, what if there's no money at all
$20.
What if it's 5,000, then it's gonna levy 5,000. Okay? If it's $2, you'll levy $2. Okay? But what if there's no money in Barry's bank account? What do they do?
His employer.
That's right. We're gonna look into your employment. Okay?
But in the old company,
Hmm?
no
Oh, one step at a time. So employment. So what I do is we do a wage garnishment. Okay, we do a wage garnishment. Do I need to spell it? No? Okay, just, no, spell, okay. No offense, no offense. For the people in the camera. Okay, wage garnishment. So what it does is we're gonna go to your HR, go to your payroll. Okay. We can hold up at a maximum of 20% of your payroll, of your check. Okay? And then Barry is going to go to the court and file an exemption to the 25%. Maybe Barry is disabled, single parent, or supporting 5 kids. Then you can apply the exemptions to the 25% wage garnishment. You can get it down to 0.
subsidy,
Hmm?
farm subsidy, 20%.
25%. At the maximum you can apply is 25% of wage garnishment. Yeah.
By this point, my credit score is completely murdered, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. Forget that, your money, okay? All right, so wage garnishment, okay? But the downside is there's a lot of the exemptions that you can apply. Okay? You might get like $100 per month. Okay? And also depending on how much you make. Okay? All right, and what if Barry doesn't work? Or Barry works as an independent contractor. If you work as an independent contractor, there's no payroll. It's not a wage, so you cannot garnish a wage. So what do you do? If he has no money, he has no job.
Community service.
And then you're just out of luck. You have this one piece of paper, and there's nothing you can do.
The collection agency.
So the collection agency, or what you do is, or what collection agency do, or the collection attorney does, is we're gonna send a notice to Barry every few months, every half a year. I think it's a half a year. So I don't practice that in the area. I believe it's 6 months. So what the notice does is, I want you, Barry, to come to the court, show your assets. Okay? Bring all the list of assets you have, bank account, the balance of the bank account statements. If you own a car, bring everything to the court. I need to examine it. Okay? I think it's every 6 months. If you don't go, I'll get a bench warrant against you. And every time you get pulled over, you'll be arrested. Okay? And this is what's called a civil harassment, basically a collection case. To get to a point you can't bear it, and they'll pay off. Or we enter into a settlement, we negotiate an amount, maybe 5K, we'll let you go. And you don't pay, we have a 10% interest rate every year. Okay? You need to renew the judgment every 10 years, but you have a 10% interest rate. Yeah.
If someone ends up in the collection agency situation, what if the person ignored, like didn't answer a call, didn't look at their email, and just completely went, under like hermit for 4 years and let the period lapse?
No, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. They can't go over you. Wait a minute. If they have a judgment against you?
No, I was talking about the collection agency option.
Well, now, if there's a judgment against you, there's no problem with statute of limitation, because it has to be decided. Because statute of limitation will bar her from suing you for the money. But in this case, you already have a judgment. She already sued you. She sued you within the statute. 5 months. Okay? Then all she needs to do, what the collection agency needs to do, is to renew this judgment every 10 years. Okay? And then this will stay with you forever.
But if it's just a normal collection, like I owe AT&T $400-something, then that goes away in 4 years?
Basically, you can try that, but, there's an exception to that. There's an exception to the credit card bills. There's some utility bills are exempt from statute of limitation.
Well, this is
You
a
need to
cell
look
phone.
into, you need to look, well, I need to look into, or you need to look into the laws. There's a lot of exceptions to that, the statute of limitation. But if it's a private party, okay? Doc, you lent $5,000 to your brother. 4 years, you didn't say anything. And the 5th year, when trying to sue him to get your money back, you can't. You're barred from statute of limitation, providing that you have a written contract. Okay? Statute of limitation for a written contract is 4 years. Okay? All right, let's take a 5-minute break. Where was I? Okay, just waiting. Civil harassment, right? That's where you get it. Civil harassment. Take you to the court every 6 months. Well, the harassment to you. Okay, now. Now, what can you do to stop that?
Pay,
Either pay or what?
leave the country.
Legally.
Die.
File bankruptcy, I just,
You file bankruptcy.
I just done.
You file bankruptcy, and then you wipe out all the liens.
Yeah.
Don't you have to pay some of those debts
No.
back in chapter 7?
Yes, you do, but just really as long as you list
Chapter
it.
11, 11,
As long as, as long as you list the debts that you have, then they're wiped out.
Then you used to have, weren't you able to do chapter 11 before, where you're reorganizing your debt and not paying it?
You still can,
It's really hard though.
but why? First of all, it's expensive. You gotta hire a lawyer to do this.
Because then you have no debt whatsoever and you have to pay it back.
Well, you just show me
Reorganization.
11, you wipe everything out.
All done.
Some debts, not the credit card debts. Not everything like debts. All right, okay. What was that? Okay, so let's go back to the hypo that Barry owns a house at Beverly Hills. Okay? Is your house paid off?
Yes. Okay, in this case, no.
No, okay. How much do you own in mortgage?
$3 billion.
Oh, right, $3 million. This is a mushroom house.
Beverly Hills.
A $5 million fair market value. Okay?
You could do better than that.
$3 million, yeah, well, it's like a mushroom house.
How's
It's worth $5 million, that's a lot. Okay, $3 million in mortgage. Okay? And then now you have a $10,000 judgment lien. Okay? And let's assume before the judgment lien, you borrowed $500,000 from the code. Okay? So in this time, just like you and your brother, Nico and Barry entered into a promissory note, a contract that Barry borrows $500,000 from Nico, and to be used as a collateral. Okay, Nico asked Barry to use his Beverly Hills mushroom house as a collateral. Okay? So you have a promissory note, and then you are going to ask him to sign a deed of trust. Okay? Well, a deed of trust is not a trust. A deed of trust is an instrument that's being used to record this lien or this money owed with county recorder's office. Okay, so let's go back to Doc. we said you want someone to look over this lien. This is what it is. You record it with the county recorder's office. So anybody comes in trying to buy your property or do a title search of your property, you're gonna see a deed of trust with in the amount of $500,000. Okay?
Is it the price?
All right, so let's say this is 2012 and this is 2014. Okay, so we have different liens against the property. Right? Now, if Barry decided to sell the house, who gets money first?
The one that has a lien on the house.
So how many liens are there on the house?
2.
What about mortgage?
Huh?
What about mortgage?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Mortgage is also one of the liens.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. So, if Barry sells the house, who gets the house? Oh, sorry, who gets the money first?
Mortgage.
Right? The bank gets it first. Okay? The mortgagee gets it first. And then who gets the second?
Lien.
Trust.
No, gets the second. The deed of trust gets the second because it was recorded before the other one, the judgment lien. And then if there's any money left, then you can take it. Okay? Yeah.
What if there was a family and the patriarch of that family, this was like, say 100 years ago, he took out a loan from his brother to buy a house, and his brother put a lien on there that long ago. But then over time, he just kept leaving his inheritance, leaving the house to his children, but they never sold it. What would happen?
Well, when someone dies, okay, when someone dies, the estate of that person is supposed to pay off the debts. Okay? So if Melissa dies, then her estate will come in and do an accounting of what you have and what you owed. Okay? So they're going to calculate whether, how much debt you have, how you paid it off, how many taxes you owe, and then do we need to sell the house to pay off those? Okay? So all this debt will be paid first from the estate before they can pass down to the beneficiaries.
So you don't see very many old liens, right?
You don't have it.
What happens to the remainder of the, say if the house is worth 10 million and the person owes like 2 million,
Mhm.
right? So then
When you sell the house, you pay off the debts, what happens to the money?
you get money or something.
You keep it.
Before
Keep them
the
in.
tax.
Yeah, well, there's taxes issues, yeah. But these are not the money that you owe, we're just talking about the debts.
Too bad you can't use the liens as a write-off.
No, you can't.
I figured.
Yeah. And the other thing is, you can contract with someone to say, well, my lien will be the first lien if anything happens. So that's why when you do the, use Barrett's house as a collateral, you need to look into the older deed of trust or other liens to see if there's that language like that. If language says, well, this is gonna be the first lien in priority, then your lien will come in second. Okay. All right. Okay. So the mortgage is far more superior than the other liens because banks wants to protect their rights. So mortgage has a higher priority. Okay? All right? So mortgage has a higher priority than deed of trust. Now, do you think of any other liens could be more superior than the mortgage?
Tax lien?
Yeah. So who's behind the mortgage? The bank, right? So we have the bank versus Nicole. Who wins?
Bank.
The bank. Now, do we have another entity comes in and against the bank that could be more powerful than the bank?
Government.
The government. So if you fail to pay your property tax, they're gonna come in. Okay? They have, if you sell the house Okay, the property tax will take it first. Okay? So the tax lien is the, I would say, the most or close to the most superior thing.
How do you make
Only-
sure that there's enough money left in the property?
You can't.
There is no money?
So when you, now, so if you try to lend $5,000 to your brother, okay? He has a house worth 200,000, okay? There's a mortgage of 100,000. There's already a deed of trust for 100,000. Are you still gonna lend him the money?
No, but how do you find out?
Oh, you do a title search,
Okay.
title report of the property, then you're gonna see it.
What happens when people just get up and walk away from the house and let it foreclose? Because I
Okay,
know sometimes they do that when their houses are underwater.
yeah, when the house is underwater, you walked away. So when you walked away, the bank will foreclose your house, and they will take the proceeds. You lose everything in the house.
Don't people, does it absolve you of that or no?
Hmm?
It doesn't absolve you of that, of the taxes and all that?
No, basically you walked with nothing. Everything in the house stays right here, the bank will take over.
Why do why people do that then, you know? There's no,
Well, if you walked away, you have nothing, right?
yeah.
You have nothing. But if you sell it, you might lose more money. Right. You sell it for $200,000, and you own bank $300,000.
That's just a bad situation all over.
Yeah. You guys understand how it works? You bought a house for $500,000, okay? You bought a house for $500,000. And then your mortgage is $300K. Okay? Now the house worth only $200. So you sell this, you give money, you give all the money back to the bank. You still owe bank $100,000.
Happened during the crash a lot.
Yeah, and then if you walked away, that was it. You don't owe bank anything. The bank will just take the money, take the house back. Okay?
Everyone pretty much loses in that situation though, because the bank doesn't get much for it.
No. If you don't take $100,000 lost, the bank will. So what bank does is they just hold on to the property until the property comes back, and then you will let it go.
Plus, I don't think people pay market price usually for foreclosure, because they always try to lowball,
Yeah.
because, you know, they might have been like. some
Yeah,
sort
bank
of-
wants some cash flows, so they will sell some of the houses, and at their loss, they will do it. So, anybody know what short sale is? Short sale. Short sale is when you cannot afford the mortgage, okay, but not as bad as foreclosure. Okay? So the bank will say, well, we're just gonna rush and sell it. Hopefully, the proceed from the sale will cover the mortgage, and you have some money left. So that's a short sale. The bank will help you to sell the house faster. They'll approve the loans faster. Yeah.
I've seen one of those before, but the house wasn't very pretty.
Well, my house is for a short sale. I got
Oh.
a short sale.
Got a deal then, huh?
Not too bad. I got it in 2008, I think.
That'd
It's
be
not
great.
at the bottom, but it's pretty deep already.
Yeah, 2009 would have been the absolute bottom. But here it didn't bottom
The
out.
first half of 2010,
It didn't bottom out very much.
here?
Yeah, because I mean.
No, it does. It's a blue, go all the way down.
Well, compared to some other parts of the country,
Oh, yeah.
we got pretty good, and then it went right back up again, so.
Yeah, because San Francisco has this ambitious plan to be the capital of biochemistry in the world. So they invest a lot of money, technologies, UCSF put in a lot of money, they raise a lot of funding. So they attract a lot of people coming in with high-paid, high-tech jobs. They don't care about the rent. Ready? What else?
Finish.
So Barry, if your primary residence is not at your Beverly Hill Mushroom House, okay, and then we as a creditor can petition to the court to force the sale of your house, okay? But what if it is your primary residence? So there's an exemption for that. It is called the homestead exemption. As long as you live in there, they cannot force the sale of the property. Okay? And to be safe, you can actually file a declaration of homestead with the county recorder's office. So people trying to foreclose, people trying to force sell your property, they can see that when they pull up the title. Okay? There's someone suing right now that has that. So I can't touch his property. We have a total of $260,000 judgment against that. We're gonna collect. Yeah. What if the guy changed all the so Barry got sued, okay, before the judgment comes out. Barry transferred everything out. He transferred the house to Melissa, okay? Transferred everything out to avoid a judgment. Can you do that?
So you have her the house?
Oh, yeah?
Wouldn't the lien become her problem then?
No? Then you have no assets. You got this lien, that's just a piece of paper.
So we both owe 10,000, or if one person pays it off and the other person is absolved of it?
No, so you give everything away. You got sued, you give everything away. So when you lose the case, you have no money to pay. You see that? Can you do it? Don't you feel that's unfair? Do you think this is you intended actions?
Yeah.
Right? In an even better word, this is fraudulent. And that's the term for it. Okay, so what she's going to do is she's going to sue everybody that you transfer to, every single one of them, you sue under the fraudulent transfer to evade judgment. That's a cause of action. Okay? Then you force everything to be transferred back to you so she can collect with attorney's fees.
Is this a secured transaction?
No, this is not part of security, but this is something that I want you to know.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so that's pretty much for it. And extra questions. Okay, everybody should receive a copy of this via email. Okay. So this equivalent to 5% of your overall grade. When you send it to me, when you send the file to me, like I said, I want just one file. Do not send me multiple attachments. I want just one email. Okay? You don't even need to say Happy New Year. Okay, just nothing in the body will be fine. Just one attachment, one PDF. Okay? I want you to write the CRN number. For this class, it's what 99152, I think. And underscore. Say your last name.
What do we put that? And
No? This is how you save your file. Okay?
that's what you want us to.
That's a CRN number. If you are from different sessions, it will be a different CRN number and your last name.pdf.
Oh, our last name on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay? CRN number underscore and last name.pdf. Just one file, do not send me multiple files. Okay? The deadline is Friday, December 19th, 2014 at midnight, 11:55 p.m.
You're on a plane, so why that date?
Huh?
You're on a plane, so why that date?
What is going to be?
I'm just wondering, why'd you pick that date?
Oh, that's why after the class and before all the other meetings, all the other classes starts.
Is that when the,
Yeah, that's when the lectures is over and before all the other finals start. So I want you to be done before the final starts.
Before the 19th?
you're on a plane?
So, and Okay, one that says due Friday, December the 19th at 11:59 p.m. I need to receive it by then. Okay, I need to receive your email by then, the time then.
Can you make it, because we're losing a weekend, can you make it the 22nd? 21st?
I don't want to look at it during Christmas.
No, I know, but you're on a plane, so you're not gonna look at it on that weekend. We're losing a weekend, Andrew.
We're giving you a present.
I mean, am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
That's our gift.
No, when is the last day to, when is the last day? for
Last
final?
day is the 23rd.
23rd. Not 24.
That's our
I'm
Christmas
just saying,
present.
Andrew, we're
to you.
losing a weekend.
That's
And
how
that
we say
weekend will
thanks.
really help.
Sometimes there is the weekend.
That's how we say thanks for all the
Yeah.
classes you gave us.
Fine, all right.
Oh. You got a
When I
week.
say something.
21st? Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
11:59 Sunday.
Right.
Yeah.
All right?
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay. Yeah.
What?
What?
I was gonna ask if,
Over you. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask if, like that one grade, progress report you sent us before, could you send us one for after chapter 3? But, I mean, not chapter 3, the quiz 3, or
Exam.
test 3?
So before exam 3.
Yeah, I know, but can we have one for post exam?
Yes, I will. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay. If you send me multiple attachments, I'll deduct 1%. Okay, you only got 5%. I'll deduct 1%. Okay. Now let's go over the content of this extra credit. I want you to form a corporation with 4 shareholders. Then you can make up a name, right? You can make up a name. You can, Wolverine, like, and Superman. So this corporation with 4 shareholders needs to buy an existing lounge or bar or club, okay? So this lounge is located in San Francisco. It serves finger food and makes 90% of its profit by selling alcohol. So the restaurant worth or the lounge worth about $400,000, but you only have $200,000. Okay? Now,
Do we have to find a loan for that?
that's right. So first, a couple things you need to consider. One, how you borrow the money. I assume you can borrow the money, but show me the promissory note. Okay? Use Google, there's a lot of plenty of examples out there for you to look at. Okay? Now, who will borrow the money? The company borrows the money or the shareholder borrows the money? You're gonna think about it. But company has no credit. Okay, so you think about it. How do you borrow the money? And this time, usually what you do is the company borrows the money and then you use other assets as collateral. Okay, so the shareholders can personally guarantee this promissory note. Use their personal assets.
We can't use venture capitalists?
Yep. Well, if you want to, show me that agreement. Be creative. If you want to, that's fine. If a VC wants to invest, go ahead. Show me that agreement.
But we've got to make a promissory note.
Well, if VC, then you don't have a promissory note.
Okay.
Right. But it's something else. You can look it up. Okay? All right, that's how you borrow money. 2, it's either before or after you're going to form a corporation. So if you form a corporation, you need an article of incorporation. You're going to have a bylaws. You're going to have a shareholders agreement. If you want to, you can issue stocks if you want to. Okay? All right. So that's the least things that you can do for a corporation. All right. Okay. So to have a restaurant, to have a lounge, you're going to have a name. Right? You're going to have a menu. What is your signature dishes and what is your signature drinks? When I say this is a 90%. The drinks makes a 90%, so this should go into part of your business plan. Okay? The layouts, how big is it? What is your monthly rent? So remember when you buy it, you have to assume the lease. Either you can buy the building, which I doubt it, or you lease from the landlord. They take over the lease. So when you take over the lease, you're gonna have a new lease agreement. How big is it? What is the layout? What is the projected revenue? What is your projected cost? And what is your projected profits?
Can one of the shareholders say that he owns property and we're using that for the,
But you are buying it.
okay.
Okay, remember, you are buying it. Okay?
Do you need like income statements and all that too, or?
Well, it's just a spreadsheet will be fine. Yeah, spreadsheet will be fine. Okay, so we'll go into a part of the next slide. Alright. Now, when you buy a restaurant, buy a lounge like this, what you need to have, you need to have a buy-sell agreement. Okay? Now we're done with the corporation. Now when you buy this restaurant, you need to have a buy-sell agreement. You might need to have a bulk notice. Okay? And this is a lounge, huh? A bulk notice. All right, and because this is a restaurant, and it's a lounge, okay, that sells, I would say, any kind of alcohol. It's a full bar, okay? So what do you think that needs to be done?
Alcohol license.
The alcohol license. How do you transfer an alcohol license? What is required? Okay? And how long does it take? Okay. And this is in San Francisco. You got all the forms you have to fill out.
We just gotta write down all the forms.
Well, no, you need to actually fill out the forms.
We have to fill out.
You have to fill out the forms.
Obviously, we don't enter our real information, right?
Oh, you make up the information.
Okay.
Down the list,
No. What's the reason? No, I'm not the one who's doing the job. So my job is to assess how much you have done, I'm telling you the expectation that I have right now, okay? And then it's up to you to go with how deep you want to go into. Okay? You can turn this into a 6-month project if you wanted to, but you only have like 2 weeks, 3 weeks the most. Okay? Right. So I'm telling you some guidelines, the things I want you, or maybe point you to the right direction. So ABC alcohol license, ABC license. You're looking at which type of the license. It has so many different types. Okay, but there's only one type for full bar. Okay, how do you transfer it? Okay, what is required? Okay. It doesn't need to publish the notice, okay, of the transfer. Where do you publish? Okay. Do you need an escrow? Okay. Of course, I'm telling you, you need to open an escrow. What is the reason for the escrow? If you have an escrow, you need to have an escrow instructions. It's a separate document. Okay? Okay. Who do you want to use as escrow? You can use an escrow company, or you can use a law firm. Pretty much anything is neutral. Now, do you know why do we need an escrow in this situation?
Impartial witness.
Okay.
Somebody to underwrite all of this.
Well, so what it is to transfer the ABC license takes a long time. It takes usually about 40 to 60 days. So what it does is, well, if Barry, I'm buying your lounge, okay, I we have to make sure there's money, real money, to buy the lounge. So we're going to put all the money into this escrow. At the same time, ABC is going to check my background to see if my background is clean enough to operate a bar. 1 and 2, you have to make sure you don't owe any taxes. Okay, you don't owe any penalties coming from the government. So they're going to check with the board of equalizations, going to check with all the other taxes, make sure you're okay.
That's the leasing company, right?
Escrow.
Okay.
Right, and then they're going to see if you owe any money. So that's why there's a publish. So escrow, there are 2 publications you have to do. One is for the escrow notice. The other one is for the transfer of the ABC license. Okay, so escrow, if people that you owe money to, they can come to the escrow and say, that's fine, you can sell it, but we need to take the money now. So the escrow will pay all the debts first before they give you the money. So that's what escrow does. It protects both parties. Okay? Yeah.
Aren't those licenses really expensive, like $50,000 or more?
That's why it costs $400,000. It's included in the price. Okay? Alcohol license in San Francisco worth right now $150,000 to $250,000 depending on the location.
Is there like a limited number of them, or
For the license?
is there a limited number of them?
Yes, because they don't issue alcohol or food bar license anymore.
When
The way
they
they
stop.
issue the license is there's a formula. It depends on the density of the population. So how many people they will issue one food bar license, and in San Francisco it's saturated, so they won't issue any more alcohol license.
When
If you have a restaurant, you do beer and wine, that's a completely different story. We're looking right now, the bars, food bars. Okay, you want to open up a new bar, there's no way for you to get an alcohol license. All you can do is to go and buy an existing.
I wonder what would happen if someone tried to buy out some of the other licenses in order to have no competition. And try- Someone could buy out some of the licenses and get rid of competition.
Well, first of all, it's very expensive, right? And then whether you operate or not, you have the ABC note, the Department of ABC note, that's alcohol and beverage control. It's on the ABC license. That's Department of ABC. It's run by state. Okay? It's a very heavily regulated area. And then business plan, like I said, this is where you can make it really colorful. You put designs into it, layouts.
Square
Give it a
footage and
name
all that too?
If you want to. Oh, yeah, actually I do. And in the ABC license, you actually do need to draw a diagram where the entrance is, where the kitchen is, where are the tables, and where's the bar. You have to actually draw it. Okay. And then in the business plan, you can make it a bit nicer. Okay. Any questions? All right, and let me see here. My intent is not to give more than 4% of the extra credit unless you do an outstanding job. So if you complete everything that I asked you to do, you get 3%. All right?
Say what again?
Yeah, if you do everything that I asked you to do, you get 3%. If you can make it a bit nicer, you receive 4%.
How do you get 5%?
If you do an outstanding job, you can impress me with
I asked
the
a
project.
question.
You open an actual
I asked you a
bar.
question.
Into the grand opening.
Why you set this? So
And
did-
if I got free drink. Yeah.
Why you set this? You just want us to plan everything.
Oh, what am I going to do? You don't have to do it, it's extra credit.
That's what they say, actually. We don't do it because you asked for that, you know.
Oh, no, you don't have to.
Different to me
That's
than
why
what
it's, that's why
I'll do it.
it's extra credit.
I did.
Okay.
It's not life, you know, but
Yeah,
incredible.
it's not very easy. I know.
Can we check in with you at some point and have you look it over and?
You can try. My availability for the next 2 weeks are very tight. But I have 2 slides coming up, so I'll try to respond to you. Okay? And most of the things that I told you are available online. Okay? Use Google. But the thing is, well, you're obviously going to make some changes. All the files must make sense.
Are you expecting a business plan?
I do. To get 5% full credit of this project, you have to have a business plan. Okay? The difference between 4% and 5% is how extensive and how pretty your business plan is.
Have you did this before?
Yes, your class did it.
Yeah, I know.
For that class, I have 4 different projects to choose from.
That's my business model there.
Did anyone get the 5%?
No, it wasn't an extra credit. For them, it was exam number 4. Okay?
Did
And then
anybody
they
do a
had-
good job?
Yes, one group, your group wasn't doing very well. But there are 3 groups that was
Because
outstanding.
the group didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I think I have, there's Bad Andy's Pizza, I think that's one of it.
Research.
Yeah, So, yeah, so I picked the one that I think is not the most difficult, but not, at the same time, it's not the most easiest.
What was the easiest one?
No?
What was the easiest one?
The most difficult one is open a hotel.
Hotel.
That which contains a regular restaurant. The most easiest one, I think.
Hotel.
It's not a hotel, it was a regular restaurant, I think.
How is a hotel difficult?
It's special license. And then hotel,
Without the restaurant, would
hotel
it be easier?
has a restaurant.
Without the restaurant, would it be easier?
Because it's about 1.5 times more than the regular restaurant.
How much are hotel licenses, you know, like roughly,
I don't-
expensive?
I never been involved in that business. Bar, I can tell you, alcohol license, I can tell you.
So if we have like 3% of extra credit, is the grade go up? The grade.
3% out of 5.
How is gonna
The
be?
3% means 3% for the overall grade. So if you have a, 86%, and then with that 3% extra, they'll put you to 89%. And then you'll probably get a B minus. Good? Right. So, yeah, that semester, actually, they impressed me by some of the work. And then I require a presentation for the last class.
How is that possible?
Why not?
What do you
That
have?
instead of the test.
Hmm?
But they don't have to test.
Oh,
Right,
now
they
you're
don't
talking about
have
now, I
to
was like, wait a minute, how is that possible?
Right.
now?
Right?
And you,
Yeah.
Wait, do we have presentation?
No, no presentation. Okay? So this is our last meeting.
okay.
And if I don't see you, happy New Year, Merry Christmas.
You do.
The other way around. Right. Okay.
All right, thanks, Andrew.
All right.
Thank you.
Guys, good luck.
Have a good-